Hey guys, so this is my, I wouldn't say a review, but this is basically a video of my thoughts on Casey Stoner as a rider and a person. I first noticed Casey Stoner when he was in the 250 class back in 2005, and yeah, that's basically just when I first noticed, that he was really talented and he was probably going to be a force to be reckoned with in MotoGP. He was battling with Pedrosa on, I would say, not as good machinery in the 250s, so that's what made me take note. In 2006, although he finished 8th in the standings, it was an impressive season. In the first round, he qualified 14th and finished, I think it was 5th or 6th, and that's impressive, to come from that far back and then finish in the top 5 or 6. In the second round at Qatar, which was playing now, he's well known for going quick there, and he got pole on his second ever race, which is quite an achievement. And then in the race he dropped back to 5th, but while we're talking about 2006, the Honda he was on, I wouldn't say there was any real problems with it, even though the factory Hondas would be better. It was the tyres that let him down, I think, and you could just see the front end going, and he crashed a lot later on in that season because of those tyres, and you could just tell they were second-rate Michelins, as it's been well documented. So he dropped back to 5th in the race at Qatar. In the third round, I can't remember where he qualified, I think he was 5th or something like that, and then in the race he actually missed out on his maiden win in his third race by 0.2 of a second to Marco Melandri. So he nearly won his maiden race in his third season, and he didn't end up getting a win that season, but the season started out really well for him, but it was as he went on, I personally think he kind of thought, wow, I can challenge these guys, and he just kind of pushed the bike past where the tyres could take it. But all through that season he was challenging near podiums and stuff like that, so I think he did really well considering the machinery and the equipment he had. Obviously in 2007 he won the championship on this Ducati, and 10 race wins, that's quite something. And but I mean, this championship was kind of, this title that Stoner got, it was kind of discredited because he was on the best bike and all that kind of stuff, and I disagree with that, and a lot of people disagree with me and everything else I have to say in this video, but that's fine, I'm not bothered, it's just an opinion. I mean, being fast in a straight line is not everything, I can guarantee you that. I've raced myself, and it's just, I'll not get into that, I'll talk about Stoner. And if that was the best bike, why did Capirossi finish 7th, and I think it was over 200 points back of Stoner? And Capirossi is no mug. In 2006 he had a great season, so there was no real reason for him to just suddenly drop off the pace. But I think that it's just Stoner adapting, and to think he was the third rider Ducati had on their list, they're kind of lucky, and that's probably unlucky for Stoner, even though he did win the championship, but we'll go on. In 2007, and this is, bear in mind, this is before Laguna 2008, he got booed at Donington on the Day of Champions, and I don't understand it, the mentality of some people. They just, I think, I don't know how to put this into words, but this isn't football, I mean, these are riders that are going out and they're risking their necks every time. This isn't a football rivalry. Obviously there is a rivalry between these two riders, Stoner and Rossi, but why would you boo a rider? You're just a complete and utter twat if you do that, and I'm not being insensitive saying that, you just are. I just can't get my head around why you'd boo a world-class rider. It doesn't matter if you don't like his personality, respect his riding ability, and just ignore him if you don't like him. In 2008 things started, I mean it wasn't that bad, but this is where things started to go downhill. He received the carbon fibre frame, even though I think the proper carbon frame came in 2009, and he still had a good season. He got 6 race wins, and you know, he just missed out on the championship. But I think where some things started to go wrong was in Laguna. He obviously himself and Rossi had that amazing battle, and you know, Rossi won it, fair enough to him, as well deserved. I think personally there were a few moves in that which I wouldn't have been happy with if they were done on me, especially the one at the corkscrew. I mean, everybody knows that, you know, do you remember the corkscrew moment at Laguna 08? And I think it was great to watch, but if you can imagine yourself, but I mean, look at it this way: Rossi went into that corner and he ran wide. He went off the track pretty much, and as he came back on, he nearly collected Stoner, who nearly went off. So I mean, I have nothing against Rossi. This video might make it sound like I do, but I really don't. It's just some of maybe the fanatical fans, I think you could call it, that, you know, yeah, whatever. But it was a good season, but I think this is really where, from Laguna, is the name where Mona started to appear. Stoner Mona, Stacy Mona, blah blah blah. And it's funny, it's ironic, because the amount of people that complain about Casey Stoner, it's just they don't see the irony in it. But anyway, in 2009, this is where the bike, to me, started to really go backwards. I think it wasn't 2010 for me was the worst one, but let me fast forward here. But like I say, 2009 it was okay. It was a good season, but obviously he had that lactose intolerance. I mean, like Stoner has said himself, even to this day it's still sometimes classified as a mystery illness, and you know, it's lactose intolerance. That's it. You know, don't try to make something big out of it. And I think that's really where, you know, he kind of thought to himself, well, people really do have it in for me, which, you know, obviously over the years has gotten to him. I wouldn't say gotten to him, because he's quite mentally strong when you think about it, but yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't please him. In 2010, I think this was the final straw for him. He knew Ducati were not listening to him. They were not going to get any better, because Preziosi has in his, I think, and even now, Preziosi has in his mind, I know what's good for this bike. I'll listen to the rider, but I might ignore it, and you know, that's not the way to go. You need to listen to your rider. In 2011, he proved himself without having to risk as much on the Ducati. There was actually a quote from one of Stoner's mechanics while he was at Ducati, and it said that the telemetry on Stoner's Ducati showed that on average he should have crashed and lost the front end 3 times per lap, and if that's not pushing it to the limit, I really don't know what is. So that's, you know, and furthermore, you know, obviously I don't want to make this sound bad, but with Rossi's struggle on the Ducati, you could really see how well he was doing with the equipment he had. But I think, you know, if you put Rossi back on a Yamaha, he would be near enough up the front. So in 2011 he also got 12 pole positions, equalled the record of Mick Doohan, and 10 race wins again. It's quite something. But we also got, you know, from the people who didn't like Stoner doing well, we also got, well, he's only winning the game because he's on the best bike. But I mean, okay, yeah, I think the Honda was the best bike last year, that's fair enough. But there were 3 other riders. There were Simoncelli, Pedrosa and Dovizioso on those bikes, and he, you know, he smoked them, all of them. And yeah, you could say they're not as good riders, and they're not. But at the end of the day, you know, he brought it home. On his first year on the bike, he adapted well to it, and that's it. But I mean, also, this is ironic as well. The people who say Stoner can only win on the best bike, you know, he had to put up with the Ducati. I mean, yeah, you could even include 07, because it was a bitch to, you know, to muscle around the corners, as you can see at this Jerez, the smaller track. And you know, he had to put up with that Ducati, which clearly wasn't the best bike, especially in 2009 and 2010 and 2008. Sorry, I forgot that. And wow, that's quite a moment there by Pedrosa. And you know, he was winning on that thing, and it's crazy for it's so ironic for people to say he can only win on the best bike. He was winning on that piece of shit there that you see, and I don't mean to sound rude, but it really is when you think about it, when you look at how all the other riders are struggling on it. So it's 2012 now, and you know, it's a good start to the season. He has 16 more points than he did at the end of last season, at the beginning of last season, sorry, and it's going good. He's got 19 successive podiums, and you know, this has also proved he was labelled as a crasher a lot when he was at Ducati, but I think everyone knows now that was purely because he was pushing it to the limit, and he had to, for the tyres to heat up and for him to get a decent result. I think he runs on in this corner. Oh, maybe not. And yeah, you know, he had to do that if he wanted to get results, so that's something which, you know, I really respected him for. But you know, on the Honda, I think, yeah, he's crashed a few times in practice sessions, but you know, that's where you want to crash. You don't want to crash in the race. And he's had 20, if I'm correct, I think he's had 21 races now with Honda. He's been on the podium in 20. He hasn't crashed in any. Obviously, he got taken out in Jerez last year, but that's through no fault of his own. So you can really look at it as a 100% podium run with Honda, which is really impressive. 2012 now, and you know, I said it in my last video, and on the topic of my last video, it got removed because of Dorna, and I didn't think that would happen, and honestly, my account might get deleted, so I'm not bothered, just whatever. But this is a DVD. I didn't want to put on a 2012 race just in case they deleted this video. Yeah, the Honda to me, the Yamaha to me, sorry, is a better rounded bike than the Honda. But I'm sure Honda will get it sorted. They just need that chatter to disappear. Now I'm going to move on to the last bit of what I think of Stoner as a person and how he carries himself. I don't have a problem with Stoner. I know a lot of people do. You know, he's probably the most hated rider of modern era, and that's purely because of his personality. But I mean, when people say moaning, you know, I want to know exactly what they mean, because I think of it like this: Stoner is a perfectionist, and it doesn't matter if he wins, comes second or third. He obviously wants more from the bike and himself, probably. So, I mean, that you could look at that as admirable, instead of, you know, oh, he's complaining again. But I mean, it's just depends on how you feel and if you warm to him or not. I think a lot of the times when he comes second or third and people say he's moaning, you know, to me that's just explaining problems, what went wrong or what could have been better. And I feel if it was another rider saying the exact same thing, you know, then it wouldn't be classed as moaning. I think it's only because it's Casey Stoner that it's classed as moaning. But you know, the way which I could best sum it up is, if you can't respect Stoner without judging his personality, then you know, it's not on really. But I mean, obviously I know a lot of people are going to disagree with my video, and that's fair enough, that's fine. But I don't like the way, you know, I'm even going to sound like him, it's Casey here, but the sport has changed over the last, you know, 5 to 10 years. There's a lot more hate involved in it, and you know, it's bullshit really when you think about it. I mean, why would you? This isn't football. This isn't, you know, West Ham v Millwall or anything like that. But you know, it does piss me off sometimes. You look online, and I've honestly looked online and seen, you know, like sickening comments, especially to Stoner, saying, you know, I don't know even if I should repeat it, but I will do. Like, Stoner, I hope you break your neck. I mean, what is wrong with you? You'd get a slap if you said that at a racetrack, so don't bother acting the big man online, do you know what I mean? But anyway, you know, this is just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I look forward to Catalonia. See you guys.